to you live from the Uptown Arts Bar, the internet's worst late-night talk show, Kauf with Dustin Kaufman.
Everybody, welcome to Kauf Drops. Thanks all for being here. This is Kauf Drops with Dustin Kaufman. I am Dustin Kaufman. We got a lot going on in the world. We'll get right to it. The Supreme Court's in the news this week. The Supreme Court the Supreme Court declined 5 cases of gay marriage for review this week. I just think it's amazing that the deciding factor of who can sleep with who is decided by the 9 of the most unfuckable people on the planet. Wilt Chamberlain, NBA legend Wilt Chamberlain, is going to have his very own USPS stamp. Yeah, this will be the only stamp in history to be licked by less women than the actual person on the stamp. Speaking of getting licked by women, Raven-Symoné went on Oprah. Raven-Symoné told Oprah this week that she doesn't want to be referred to as gay or African American. Yeah, and we stand by her on this, not wanting to be referred to as traditional labels. It's just that dark-skinned female pussy eater is such a mouthful. The first American case of Ebola, the first victim in America to die of Ebola happened in Dallas, Texas. That was actually an African person who was in America. However, there were 3 white victims of the virus who were actually cured and survived. I don't know how else to say this, people, but American Ebola is a racist motherfucker. Speaking of Aunt Jemima, the proclaimed grandchildren of the actual Aunt Jemima says they are owed $2 billion for their grandmother's likeliness to sell pancakes and syrup. Quaker Oats said that image is meant to represent warmth and caring and not supposed to be any one individual. And then they followed with, especially since all black people look alike anyways. Alright, we got a great show for you guys tonight. We got Craig Glazer in the house. Woo! Yeah, from Stanford & Sons. He's got a new podcast out. We also have a very funny comedian, Gage Barton's in the house tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, give it up for George Clooney! Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Make sure and subscribe to our channel. You can do it right here. There's a little link above my finger right there. You can subscribe as well. Alright, we have a very special guest in the house tonight. We have a very funny comedian who's going to start things off. This man has been touring with the USO for quite some time. He actually just got back from Liberia, where he's been performing on the Ebola relief shows. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the very funny Bud Sklargen.
Thanks. I just flew in from Liberia, and I'm exhausted.
You doing all right, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good, buddy. Stage lights are so fucking hot.
You need a towel or something?
Oh man, I got my handkerchief. Brought it from Liberia. It's all right, man. A rabbi and a priest were on a plane, and none of them would talk to me.
You sure? sure you're doing okay, but I think you're bleeding from the mouth.
What?
I think you're bleeding from the mouth,
Now,
bud.
Dustin, you sound like you're at the end of a long hallway. You're gonna have to speak up, man.
You're bleeding from the mouth, bud.
I don't want to die. I've been a terrible father. I don't want to die. I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell, Dustin.
Is it possible?
Why is everything so cold, Dustin?
I think you may have picked up something on your tour, but
Dustin! Everybody!
Alright, everybody might want to go ahead and get checked for Ebola just in case. Moving right along. Okay, moving right along. Actually, Missouri just this week goes into effect a new law that requires women to wait 72 hours upon signing up for an abortion. So there's actually a 72-hour wait for that. And the problem we feel with that is moving forward, what are some other things that are going to end up having a 72-hour waiting period? You know, like, are we going to have to wait 72 hours for a one-night stand? Are we going to have to wait 72 hours just to get fast food? Or also, there could be this situation.
Hi, I need a rape kit done.
Ooh, okay, I understand. Why don't you go home and think about this for a few days?
You want me to think about whether or not I was raped?
Yeah, for like 72 hours. You see, there's a mandatory 72-hour waiting period before you can collect a rape kit on a woman.
Seriously? Because I was, like, raped.
Well, you know, hey, a lot may change in 72 hours. You know, it might turn out you were confused about having been raped at all, and you won't need a rape kit done.
Oh, so you're saying that I could be confusing being raped with some kind of aggressive, violating, inseminating pedicure?
Hey, you know, some people are in defeat. I'm not here to judge. But look, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your body. All I'm saying is it would be a good idea to just go home, have a shower, maybe a nice latte, maybe a douche, and, you know, have your clothes cleaned by a professional dry cleaner, and then, you know, in 72 hours you might feel a little differently about the situation.
That would get rid of the evidence of the rape? And also, you're not supposed to douche. It's unhealthy for your vagina. And don't think about me douching. That's gross.
Look, if you're going to use foul language in my office, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Foul language? Vagina?
Vagina's
Vagina's a medical term. You're a doctor. I feel like I'm being raped right now.
And that 72 hours starts right now. Are you having a hard time determining if you've been raped or not? Well, here at Cough Drops Inc., we are proud to present to you the Do-It-Yourself At-Home Rape Kit. Sure, you could go to the hospital to have your kit done, but it's going to sit among hundreds of other rape kits, and you've already been on the receiving end of one unwanted fucking. Included in the rape kit is Kleenex, because you'll be crying. A bottle of hard alcohol, because let's face it, you just got raped, you need a drink. This sewing kit, because you may need to give yourself sutures. Also added bonus onesie, just in case. Call now while supplies last.
Yeah, well, that happened. Our next guest on the stage has been a staple in not only Kansas City comedy, but comedy around the country for a long, long time. He's had clubs here he just opened, I believe, his 4th or 5th location, and he also has a brand new podcast you can find on iTunes called Glazer Unfiltered. Put your hands together for Craig Glazer.
That was it for the bringing me up.
What?
That was all the credits you could come up with. You don't have a huge ego. You need to mention movies, Champions Forever, the book.
He was also in Please Shit on My Chest too. He's the author of King of Sting. You've seen him on Cops dozens and dozens of times.
Cops brought me here.
He could be your father. Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Glazer. Cops were actually sitting out front. I was like, what did he do this time?
Good guys. Yeah, they were helping some crippled guy go to jail. That was nice.
I thought you might need a hand or some legs.
Well, I hit the kid pulling up, and I signed a complaint on him. He got in my way, and they arrested him. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding.
What kind of damage does it do getting hit by a Ferrari?
No, it's a Lotus, asshole. I wouldn't be caught dead, no. I just took my girlfriend's car back. That's a Mercedes out there. The little whore.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you had bought her a car and then
well, I bought it for me and told her it was for her, knowing I'd take it back at some point.
When she turned into that whore you knew she was.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. Damn good looking though. She lasted 11 months. That's longer than most of them these days.
Nice. I can't even last 5 minutes sometimes. So congratulations on everything. You got a lot of new change going on. You just opened your brand new club out at Rosanna Square.
Yeah, you guys come out there. It's 119th and Metcalf, right by 1 block south, which are all those bars, Kansas Hall, Fuel, and all the stuff that's over there, and right by Price Chopper. But that was kind of the first shopping mall of South Johnson County. I think it opened in the late 80s. So that's a real busy spot. So we moved from Legends. God, we've been, I'm exhausted because we've been building it for 3 months. I wasn't building it. I'm just exhausted from watching people work. But
that's what I
no, it was tough. It's really hard remodeling and doing all that stuff these days, and you're doing it in a hurry. And it had been a Chinese restaurant, so we had to deal with all the dead, dogs and cats in the kitchen.
Which are now going to be called pretzels and chicken wings.
We've already sold all those. But back to the club. So if you guys haven't been there, and I know most of you haven't because I've only been home 2 weeks, but we have a beautiful kitchen. We redid theirs, and the food, we just had the star, and there was a big story on the restaurant yesterday in the 913 magazine. And it's not your granddad's comedy club menu. It's like blackened Cajun catfish and filet mignon.
I saw a little bit of the menu. I saw the picture.
That's a 4-star.
It looks good food. It looks like good food.
We hired a real chef.
Now you're actually at your new club. One thing you're doing on Wednesdays now, you're recording. You have a brand new podcast.
We just started that. We did. In fact, our producer is Pat Ryan and Pat Moore.
Patrick Moore. Yeah.
Yeah, and good guys. And we just did and it's great because you'll be on it next one. It's Wednesday for the podcast, and that's on iTunes, so you can listen to them now. They're 1 hour. But we get the headliners on. So we had Dub David off, Chris Frangiola. Last night was Jimmy Walker. So that helps when you have those big name guys.
As a club owner, as somebody in the business, do you feel that comedy is as good or as profitable or as booming as it was maybe 10, 15, even 20 years ago as a club owner here in town?
Well, I think there's more interest in comedy. I think there's a lot more young people getting into comedy now because of the internet. But the bad news is because it's good news, bad, it's like music. There's more people into it and less money in it. And the entertainment business, which people, and I predicted this back in the early 90s when I was in Hollywood and lived there, I saw it coming, the end of DVDs, the end of movie theaters, the end of music. I couldn't believe the rock and roll just ended. It's kind of like, for my age, it's like, what the fuck? None of that.
Even downloading and just streaming and giving it what has a lot.
Well, yeah, they've given it away. There's no money in it. I mean, there will be no more movie stars. You're seeing the end of it. There's not going to be another Tom Cruise. The industry won't allow it.
I want to touch on something, I guess it would be from a comic perspective and a club owner perspective. No numbers included. I know what you guys give to your comedians now is a little less than what it was when I started, but that was a different time ago. But I remember it was a specific moment where you were still in Westport and you were paying MCs a certain amount, features a certain amount, and Dean Bose comes out and says, I will do this for $50. And he did it, and ever since then, we never got back to. And
those were live sales, but yeah, I know what you mean.
But I'm not even playing. It's people like that saying that we're not worth this much.
It isn't a matter of worth. It's a business. What you were asking me earlier about the state of the business. People want to see famous people. Example, what you don't know, because the guy's up and coming like what you are, and you're a talent guy. But the public wants to see Chris Kattan. I know he's not a good comic. It doesn't matter. He's a great guy. He's got tons of pills, but he'll sell out, and you got to pay him $12,000 for 2 nights.
Man, I had him do my
That's
show in LA
why the
for
money.
free.
Huh?
I had him do my show in LA, and I was doing a weekly
He's
show
a
in
good
LA.
guy.
He came out and did it for free. My parents were in town that week, and they said, man, everybody was really funny except for that guy from Saturday Night Live.
Do not tell anybody because I have to get $12,000. But he'll sell out. I mean, he's entertaining. I'm actually sucks.
Is he going to do the monkey thing?
Yeah, he does.
So when's he coming?
Walking down the street, get the funniest looks from. That's the Monkeys. Who remembers the Monkeys? The band, the Monkeys.
Yeah.
Wasn't that their theme song? Here we come, walking down the street, get the fun. Anyway, I like that old shit. But back to what you said. The comedy industry is not as strong as it was. There are a lot of clubs open. The Improv, they open clubs, they close clubs. Wherever they go, they get the bigger name guys, so the local clubs struggle. Luckily for us, they weren't anywhere near where we were, and we've been established so long. I mean, Stanford's been open 40 years. We're the second oldest comedy club on the planet, owned by the same people. Because the oldest is the Comedy Store, owned by Missy Shore, who's Pauly Shore's mother. Pauly's mom and dad. Sammy Shore owned that, and they're about 60 years old. And the Improv's older, but it changed hands. So
you guys are stable here, though.
Yeah, I mean, we're like Winstead's and Gates Barbecue and all that. But having said that, time moves on. I mean, we brought the flower pot bread back, and I remember when we closed our restaurant.
Is that back now?
Yeah, it's back on the menu.
If you guys don't remember Westport, they had this flower.
You guys remember flower pot bread? Anybody?
Yeah. It was what kept me in the business.
That's why you're not playing for the Chiefs. Look, the bread.
Now I look like flower pot bread.
The bread comes out of a flower pot like a big mushroom, and you get honey butter, and you can just eat loaf after loaf. And it comes with every those mushrooms. That's why we're having Chris Kattan. Who else is coming up? We have some real interesting guys. But see, what I do is mix the big name guys from yesteryear, like everybody goes, oh, Dave Coulier, Jimmy Walker. You can say that, but they're the guys that bring the largest audiences because people know who they are.
And that's what clubs, like, at the end of the day, clubs,
they go by fame.
They want to sell tickets.
Now, I introduced 50 guys no one ever heard of at the time, like Jim Jeffries was the last guy that we kind of babied along, who ended up getting his own TV show. No one heard of that guy.
And you did that with Larry, the cable guy, too.
Larry was Dan Whitney. When I found him, he was getting 500, and he bugged the hell out of me to let him feature. He was playing up in Nebraska where he lived. I believe he's from Florida, but he was living up there. And he was playing the Funny Bones, I think, in Lincoln or Omaha. And he was Dan Whitney, but he came up with this character, Larry, because the real guy talks like we do, with his voices.
We did a lot of radio calls with that character, right?
We got him on Johnny Dare. Johnny didn't want him because he was a Hoosier. But back then, Johnny was a little more liberal and gave Newcomb. Johnny's become like Jay Leno. If you're not a star, you can't really be on the show anymore. It's real hard to get guys on that don't have even on his show. But we got Larry on. He started doing every Friday call-ins. His character got bigger. I started paying him $1,000 a week. That son of a bitch sold out every week, whether it was free tickets or
I worked with him. It was still in Westport. I worked with him on his last club tour, and I remember because it's usually
then he was getting $50,000 a week.
It was usually one Wednesday, one Thursday, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday, and Sunday. We had 2 shows Wednesday, 2 shows Thursday, 3 Friday, 3 Saturday, and 2 Sunday. Every single show was sold out.
I wish he'd come back, but but I got Chris Kattan in November, so 9 years on Saturday Night Live. But my favorite, you know why people come? All I got to do somehow is play that music. Night at the Roxbury. Don't hurt me. What's that song? Love. What's it called? What is love?
Baby, don't hurt me.
We can all do it.
Don't
hurt me. Don't you love that song? But you know, in Chris's defense, I don't know what, I think he's got multiple sclerosis or he fell. But you know, that movie's not that old. Well, when you do Oxycontin and you're on a ladder, so that movie was he was good. And he was kind of handsome and cute, you know, on that and the other shows and Undercover Brother. I mean, the guy had a career, but something happened he still looks like himself, but his body's like weird. I don't know.
It's totally alcohol. He just went into rehab.
Yeah.
November.
I'll help straighten him out.
Yeah.
What you guys don't know, for 10 years I was chairman of all the drug alcohol clinics in Kansas City. Renaissance West.
Who checks themselves into rehab and says, you know what I need to do? Work for Craig.
Does he do cocaine?
He probably eats it. I don't know.
Well, I took him to a strip bar. And
oh, God.
He left with two where my girlfriend worked at the time. She's not my girlfriend anymore, that's why we have the car back. But anyway, she went back to stripping. That's what they get when they...
I would hate to see that guy on cocaine. I don't even like hearing him talk normally. How much...
No, when I left, he was on the couch. They were closed. He was still talking to these two girls. I go, you've already got them. They want to fuck you because you're who you are. Take him home. Shut the fuck up.
No, I want to get to know him first. Well, they won't fuck you then, Chris.
I don't know what happened, but I left, so I don't know what he did.
Well, man, I guess that's wonderful, man.
Well, thanks for having me.
We have comedian Gage, Barton. You want to have a seat? Stick around for Gage?
No, but thanks for having me.
Craig Glazer, Stanford and Sons.
Where's my $50?
Talk to
I'll
Jeff.
take a $50,000.
Talk to Jeff. Jeff has the other 50. You can call him in 2 weeks for it.
Hey, you know what? I want to say this is a fun show, and I've been watching you guys do a great job. So I'll come back, and you know what? Hit me up and. What is time? Yeah, I can bring one of the big headliners in.
Anytime.
If you let me know.
Anytime.
$50.
Anytime.
Thanks, you guys.
Craig Glazer, everybody. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very funny comedian in the house tonight. This man has been with this show from the beginning. Some of the best sketches and mock interviews have been done with this man. He's here week after week, and tonight he is here to perform for you. Put your hands together for the one and only Gage Barton.
How you guys doing?
Gage, stay behind that yellow tape.
Okay, TV stuff. We're working it out. I don't really think I need to quit drinking, you know. It's a lot healthier than when I was doing drugs all the time. Back when I was doing drugs, you know, you take acid and get arrested. Because you're over in Target, finding out there's only so long they'll let you stand in one place trying to move things with your mind. You know what I mean? The shit really hits the fan when you're in the bottom row of the toy aisle just sitting real still trying to get someone to buy you. The point is, no, that shit doesn't happen to me now that I'm drinking. It's better off that I quit doing the drugs instead. Even though I don't do drugs, that doesn't stop people from asking me for drugs. People ask me for drugs like every day. It's all the old guys that ask me for drugs, you know? Like the dudes over 50 that want to ask me for weed. And I think it's because they see me with the long hair and the bright shirts and they're like, I smoked Thai stick with that guy at an Allman Brothers concert in 1977. He's got the shit. And the old guys, you can always tell how long it's been since they bought weed by how they ask for it. They're like, hey, sir, how much for a lid? Oh, yeah. The fuck is a lid? Update your weed slang. I was born after Ghostbusters came out. I don't have time for that shit. Those old guys, they don't know what they want anyway. They were from a day when they light up the joint, they're like, and you can tell it's good shit because it smells like fireworks. I don't know about this new stuff. I will say though, I saw a kid walking down the street the other day with a shirt that just said acid on it 5 times in a row. I hope somebody asks him for drugs. Really think about it though, that would be like a really logical, real way for a drug dealer to identify himself. It's like, this is who I am, and this is the quantity of shit that I have. Acid, he has 5 assets left to sell you. Get them while they're hot. I was walking down the street the other day wearing a badass Hawaiian shirt. I was feeling real cool, you know what I mean? Got surfboards flying, trees waving, just everything's going wild. I'm feeling great. I see these dudes walking down the street the other direction. I hear one of them go, look at his shirt, look at his shirt. I'm thinking they're admiring it. That thought was interrupted by one of them going, Little Jimmy Buffett! I was mad that they wanted to disrespect me like that when I'm rocking my Hawaiian shirt. Like a dude walking down the street in a Hawaiian shirt can't be crazy. Don't you realize that a Hawaiian shirt is like the top choice for liquor store robberies since 1984? You ever seen Raising Arizona, motherfucker? He wasn't wearing a cardigan, was he? Now, I'll tell you the real reason why I feel like a badass in my Hawaiian shirts is I got Tommy Bahama shirts, and the inside of those motherfuckers say relax. Now, that's on the inside of the shirt. So it's not letting you know that I relax. It's reminding me, the wearer, to relax. My Hawaiian shirt's like, relax, dog, you're on probation. This ain't worth it, man. Ease back. They're judging a book by the cover. I think people need to look within themselves before they go and judge, you know? Like, this girl that I know, this woman, she posted a status on Facebook the other day from Research Medical Center over on Prospect. And she said, ugh, I hope I don't get my car stolen at this ghetto-ass hospital. I know this girl really well, so I was like, bitch, is it you or the hospital that's on Section 8? Is it you or the hospital that does hair in your living room while you watch Steve Wilkos and talk shit? Because let me tell you something, I've been to Research Medical Center. You know what I've seen there? Millions of dollars worth of medical equipment. One thing that I haven't seen there is thumbtacks in the fucking ceiling. Thank you. Now this girl though, let me tell you about this woman. I've seen her 12-year-old son push a stolen refrigerator on a dolly down the street at 2 in the morning. But she's afraid to park her car at Research Medical Center. I'm afraid to park my car at her house. Her son and his friends and have it on bricks in 5 minutes. Then you come outside and try to figure out what happened. The little kid's just smoking sherm on the porch with a 36-year-old man. I'm like, little dude, you know what happened to my car? He's like, I know you need to get the fuck up off this porch. That's what I know, motherfucker. I think that I need a new woman in my life, you know. Me and my ex-girlfriend broke up, which sucks for me, not because she's like a lovely lady or anything, just because it's hard to meet another girl when you live in a creepy studio apartment with multiple Grand Theft Auto posters hung up. But there's one girl that I was talking to, I hadn't heard from her in a little while, and she hit me up and she said, hey baby, I really miss you. And then she said, do you still know that guy with the pills? I was like, all right, well, I need to meet someone new. So I went out with this new girl. I don't know her very well, but we went out to a bar and grill. We're having a good time. Until I noticed these 2 dudes at another table just staring at us. These motherfuckers just staring at us with no respect. And I'm from Johnson County, so you know I don't play that shit. So I'm catching a vibe, finally. I had to ask, I had to say, I was like, did you have sex with somebody at that table? And she said, I had sex with everybody at that table. Which is, it's kind of a weird thing to say on a first date. But it's especially weird that she said everybody at that table when there's only 2 dudes there, you know? It's like, what's a third dude gonna come back from the bathroom and be like, everyone at the table, bro! But But instead of thinking about that, I'm like, nah, we're having a good time. I don't want to ruin this. So I said, hey, I'm going to get a drink. You know, it's okay to have experiences over time. She said, no, this is one experience. It was one time. I said, well, back to that drink. And she said, no, I don't drink. With a real bitchy tone, you know. Too bitchy for someone who just admitted to fucking a whole table at the restaurant we're at. Okay? And I was like, well, I'm going to get something to drink. And she cut me off. She said, I think people who drink make themselves look stupid. I was like, well, you must have looked like a real fucking scientist with two dicks in your face, bitch. Then I found out they all met at a Mensa gathering, and I kind of felt like a piece of shit. All right, guys, I'm Gage, Barton. Thank you very much for having me out. I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, for Gage, Barton, Craig, Glazer, this is Kauf Drops. I'm Dustin Kaufman. Thanks for watching. Make sure and subscribe. Take it